If you're watching this video, congratulations, because you are amongst the loneliest generation in recent history. And this is backed by a lot of different things, but I just kind of want to break down some of the main points in this video. I actually took some notes down on this topic when I was doing my normal thinking session this morning, and kind of have a couple key points. But what I mean by this, I don't make this video to make everybody feel sad or make everybody feel more alone than they maybe already do, but I kind of want to explain why I think it's this way, and kind of how we can combat this, or how we can, get around these things a little better, or deal with this stuff a little better as individuals. So the number one reason for this, the first thing, is going to be social media, right? We feel so connected, but also so disconnected at the same time. Like, you'll see your friends on social media and you can stay updated with people who are, states away from you, who are countries away from you. And you might feel like, it's able to bring us closer, which initially I think social media really did that. But now it's almost made it to where it's such a highlight reel of everybody's life that you're continually watching that you don't really know the person. It doesn't really get deep. Like, social media kind of started out as people just being super authentic and super genuine on it. And now it's kind of just turned into a highlight reel of people's lives, which causes us to feel very disconnected from each other, because although we're viewing each other and seeing each other on social media, we're not actually understanding or getting to know, or, really staying close with each other. And there's tons of people now that have friends who are only friends on social media, or who are only friends on the internet. And that's not a bad thing, but it's definitely a disconnecting thing, right? I know how it is because I've got a lot of internet friends as well. And it's awesome to be able to do that. And it's awesome to be able to have friends from the internet, but it doesn't really feel the same as having somebody there with you in person. And I believe this is one of the causes for people's loneliness. They feel like, hey, I could go on social media and just watch through content that stimulates me all day long and helps me feel less alone. But as soon as you stop watching that content, you feel alone, right? And that's why social media being so addictive, mixed with the fact of, us not going out and interacting with people as much as humans used to do in the real world, is the mix of just pure loneliness, right? It's what causes people to feel alone. And we see this in so many different ways. Another thing I had down on my notes was remote work. This is another thing that's super huge that's happening right now. And pretty much ever since we had that pandemic and everything a couple years ago, there's been just a insane increase in the amount of people who are working remotely. And I don't think it's a bad thing, but what I do think is kind of toxic about it is working remotely alone. Like, I know this firsthand because I work from my house and work from home. And so I've been literally in my house, working alone for years and years and years and years. And after years of doing this, it starts to take a toll on you. You start to just crave some sort of real interaction with people. And I know this is something that who would rather go into an office than work from home, right? Not many people, and businesses have kind of figured that out. And now, since employees want that, and businesses, like that as well, because then they don't have to pay for office space, it's kind of became a huge thing. People are working from home. People are, living their lives through the social media screen. People are sharing their lives through the screen. There's a pretty big lack of realness, right? And number one, social media. Number two is remote work. And number three is a really big one, which is just less community overall. And this is basically like the concept of, I remember when I was a kid growing up, I'm 25, so if that gives you any perspective. When I was younger, growing up, we knew all of our neighbors. On the street I grew up on, I was outside playing with all my neighbors. I knew all the neighbors. My family knew all the neighbors. It was kind of like like your neighborhood was almost like your first little clique, the first little group that you hung out with. Nowadays, you don't see that a lot anymore, right? Even though a lot of us are living closer than we've ever lived, in apartment buildings, in townhomes, in, housing developments where there's just a bunch of neighborhood houses built in the same place. You don't see as many kids, as many people outside playing, as many, people who actually know their neighbors, right? Like, it's pretty rare nowadays that you go to somebody or meet somebody and they know all of their neighbors by name, or, they get their neighbors gifts on Thanksgiving, or they interact with each other, right? Where traditionally this used to be a huge thing, right? Everybody knew their neighbor. Even when I was growing up, I'm young, but even when I was a kid, in the early 2000s, you knew your neighbors, right? And this is another thing, because of social media, because of work from home, because of all these things that are forcing us to kind of be alone, we also feel this kind of social anxiety about meeting new people, about being around our neighbors, about being in our community, about being active out there in public. And this is something that I'm not sure exactly where this leads, but I know there is something we can do to fix it. And my best thing that I've found that has been kind of fixing this for me a little bit, and I'm not saying I'm a master at this, because I still struggle with this, of course, and I think there's a lot of people out there who do, and I'm just trying to make these videos and be honest with you guys. I'm not trying to fluff this up. I know this sounds like, I'm not trying to complain either. I'm not trying to, be like all sad or anything. I'm just trying to talk about the real reality with you guys, and that's what I consistently want to do with you guys on this channel. So make sure you subscribe if you're not already, because I'm trying to put out these videos like every couple days, just on topics that I feel are important. But where I was going with that is, what has kind of helped me feel a little less lonely is just taking some time in the morning to try to text somebody, or try to, meet somebody that you haven't met before. And also talking to people at the grocery store. Like when you're at the grocery store and when you're in line, compliment the person in front of you, compliment the person behind you, see if that starts a conversation and can lead you to, a new friendship or a new relationship that you didn't have before. Or, go knock on your neighbor's door and say, hey, I'm your neighbor, here's a little meat and cheese box, or here's a little gift or some sort of thing. Like, try to do at least one thing every day to kind of instill more of a sense of community. And even if it is an online friend, just try to meet more of them. Try to reach out and meet somebody new every single day. And this was something so easy to do back in the day, which is crazy, because I think about when I was a kid, I was meeting new people all the time. We were in the neighborhood playing around, and then you'd see another kid playing around, and you'd be like, yo, you want to go play football at the park? Or, you want to go play basketball, or those sorts of things. But as I got into adulthood, and as this social media, work from home sort of life has progressed, it's just gotten harder and harder to do those things. So it's actually a challenge to do this every day, but I've been trying to push myself towards that. And I notice that every single day, when I do meet somebody new, or even when I reach out to somebody I know who I maybe haven't talked to in a while, it just feels instantly better on the inside. It just instantly makes me feel a little bit more fulfilled, a little bit more excited, and a little bit more motivated to, continue along this path of life, continue working, continue going hard. And it's something that if we all commit to doing something like that, we really could change the world. It takes you, and then you tell your friends, and then your friends tell their friends, and then you guys start, meeting people, networking, and being with people physically again, right? It's the more and more we drift on the polar opposite of this, of, on the more and more we drift towards not meeting people and being alone, the more and more our overall life quality just gets worse, right? So this is kind of an attempt to stop that cycle of us getting further away and bring people more connected together again. And it's not something that fixes itself, right? This is something that we have to consciously decide to do. You have to consciously decide to, go meet your neighbor, go meet a new friend, go talk to somebody at the grocery store, go make friends with the person who cuts your hair, right? Whatever it is, try to practice getting a little more used to reaching out to people and connecting with people. Not only does this do good for the way that you feel about life, but this also could open up new opportunities that you never knew before, right? New business opportunities, new job opportunities, new living opportunities that you might have never had in the past. Every time you meet a new friend, that's another person's life, another person's energy that's now able to be shared with you. And that's way more powerful than what it just looks like. It might just look like on the outside you're hanging out with somebody, but all these things we can't see, like the transfer of energy and the collaboration of creative thoughts, and all these things that are kind of harder to physically see that are occurring, are so healing for our soul. So my challenge to you is to get out today, meet somebody new, or just talk to somebody new and just get started doing that. And if you do this every day for a month, by the end of that month, I guarantee you're going to feel way better than you did at the start of the month. Even if you don't, meet anybody that important or meet anybody that ends up being your friend, just the act of reaching out, trying to talk to people, trying to network will make you feel better.